So let's talk about market values. Why do market values matter? Well, the market value is a snapshot of what the current value of the property is. These values don't generally change dramatically in a short amount of time over a few months. So this value is important if you're wholesaling or you're rehabbing, which all should happen in a fairly short time frame. That's where it matters. If you're keeping the property as a rental property, the current market value isn't really nearly as important to you because the value down the line is what matters. But it will matter right now to your lender, if you're using a lender, as that will be a typical critical piece of information for them. Your estimated market value for a property is one of the two most important pieces of data that factor into your eventual offer, typically. As you'll see in the lesson on making the offer, your offer will mainly consist of two main things. What you think someone else will pay for it, which is largely dependent upon the market value, and the level of repairs needed to get to that market value. Now again, if it's going to be a rental, either you or the buyer, if you're selling it, may evaluate the property differently. So let's assume you're either wholesaling it or rehabbing it for the purpose of this lesson. In order to evaluate, you have to get data from the MLS. You don't have to be licensed in this business, but you do need access to MLS data. I talked about it in a previous lesson. There truthfully is no better place to get access than just directly from the MLS. I will advise you, do not trust or use Zillow data or any other online sources that are determining their own estimates. They are never accurate. A system is making those numbers up, and not real people that are willing to write you a check. So if you're not an agent, how do you get it? We talked about this previously. You can talk to an agent and see if you can work with them. Work with them, what does that mean? Well, maybe they could list properties for you once you sell them. Maybe they could bring deals to you and you pay them a little bit more in commission. There's lots of ways that you might work together, that you could include them in your business, and in exchange, they can help you get access to MLS data. What you do not want is for them to say, well, whenever you need comps, just let me run them for you and I'll get them to you. Because I promise you, when you need comps, you need them now. You need them in a minute, not tomorrow afternoon when they get around to it. So you need direct access one way or another. Now in some markets, in my market, and actually about 10 or 15 markets that I'm aware of, you can actually subscribe to a tool that resells MLS data. So you could pay for that without being a realtor and without actually even going through a realtor. But quite frankly, I'm not familiar with very many markets that have that across the country. So your best bet is going to be to rely on a realtor. MLS data is critical. We're going to talk about tax data. Where do you get tax data? You get that from your city or county appraisal district. It's common for this data to be wrong, so again, be careful with it. So how to determine market value. This is kind of the ideal scenario that I'm going to share with you. You can find some similar houses that have sold. They're the same size, built in the same year. They're next door from you or right across the street. That is an ideal scenario. But the reality is that almost never happens. You never find comps that are just perfect. The two houses on the side of you and the house across the street sold last week, they're the exact same size, same year, same style. That tells you what the market value is. It helps you substantially. But that doesn't happen that way really ever. So what you have to do is find the best possible comps you can find and then adjust them to kind of normalize that you're looking at an apples to apples comparison. What you're ultimately looking for are 3 to 5 of the best comps that you can find. Ideally, they're close to your house. Ideally, they're the same year. Certainly in the same zip code. Ideally in the same subdivision or neighborhood. If you cross a busy road, sometimes those are very different houses. Even if they are very close in proximity, they might be totally different houses. So you have to be careful of all those things. What you ultimately need to do is take those 3 to 5 comps that you found, the very best comps, and determine the average dollar per square foot for those properties, and then multiply that average dollar per square foot times your square footage. Now that's a very high level. I'm going to give you some things to look out for, and we're going to go through a couple of examples here. Things to look out for. Unusually high or low dollar per square foot comparables. High often indicates that something special happened there that you can't recreate. One example that's pretty common in my market and more affordable markets is that some sellers seller finance a house to the end user. Folks that don't have good credit, folks that maybe have no credit. The investor is acting effectively as the bank. Because they're doing that, they can charge often higher than typical market values. Okay? If one of your comps is one of those sales, you should not use it. If the comp value is too low, sometimes you can't tell exactly what's wrong, but something is wrong if the house sold for much lower than what is typical. There are other things you should look out for. For example, we refer to these things as white elephants. It's a big deal, but sometimes you forget it's there because if you close one eye, you maybe forget about it. Things like power lines, water towers, train tracks on the corner of a busy road, things like that are very important and they detract from value. So it's important to know if your house is there, were those comps do they also have white elephants or issues like that? If your house doesn't have any of those issues, but your comps do, you can kind of know that those comps sold for less than what yours probably would, all else equal, because you don't have that obstruction. When you're looking at rehabbed properties, I've mentioned this previously, when you're looking at your comps, you need to physically look at them, not just look at them on paper. But if you can see the comps in the MLS and you can see pictures and descriptions, you can go a long way with that information as well. When you're looking at rehab properties, those that you believe have been rehabbed, they sold for the top of market, pay close attention to the level of the rehab. Do they have granite? Do they have stainless appliances? Do they have basic carpet or hand-scraped hardwood floors or travertine? All of those things matter. How many days on the market were your comps? That indicates to you how slow or how fast all those other properties have sold. So you can see trends and start to have a good idea of what should happen to your house, right? You're really trying to recreate what others have done. I would advise you to never be a pioneer and try to over-rehab a house nicer than anything else in the neighborhood has ever been, because you will have a hard time getting more than other houses, even if you've made it nicer. Those price points, those other comps, tell you what the market will bear. Customers in those markets, which are prospective buyers, will buy at the price point that you see in the past. Don't try to create something that's never happened before. Let's go through a couple of examples here. Your subject property, and by the way, you can write down some notes here in this guide if you haven't printed it yet. We have lots of bonuses, lots of great information inside of here, and some places for you to write down notes and take examples. Hey guys, just a quick reminder that you can get access to all 10 of the training videos in this masterclass that we call the Ultimate Get Started in Real Estate Investing Guide and Program, as well as this awesome supplemental guide with incredibly valuable copies of our contracts, scripts, checklists, and many more by visiting us at flipnerd.com/free training. That's flipnerd.com/free-training. 2 separate words there. You'll get immediate access to all 10 lessons of this powerful masterclass. I know you're watching it on YouTube right now, but that's how you get all of our downloadable checklists and all sorts of other information. You'll get immediate access to all 10 of our lessons of this powerful masterclass. You'll get this free resource guide, and we'll share some other powerful content with you as well. So going over to flipnerd.com/free training, that's free-training now to get registered. So let's go through this example here. Your subject property has 1,000 square feet. You find 3 comps that you believe are very good. This is kind of an ideal scenario here that I'm going to tell you. The average square footage was 100 across those 3 comps. Now pay close attention here. One of them sold at $98 a square foot, one of them sold at $100 a square foot, and one of them sold at $102 per square foot. If you add 98 plus 100 plus 102, divided by 3 to get the average, you're going to get $100 per square foot. If your property, again, is 1,000 square feet, 1,000 square feet times $100 per square foot would indicate that the after repaired value that you're estimating is $100,000. Now, I want you to note something here. Those 3 comps that I gave you, 98, 100, and 102, was an unusually high and tight cluster of prices that are very close together. Note that they were $100 average per square foot. Here's another example. If you would use 3 comps, one that was $50 a square foot, one that was $100 a square foot, and one that was $150 a square foot, that also gives you an average of $100 per square foot. But those numbers are all over the board. It could be between 50 and 150. I hope you understand that all that extra variance there makes the comps much more risky. You don't want to assume, well, they average 100, so I can expect 100, because what if you dive in and all of a sudden you're not able to get more than 50? Or what if you use $100 per square foot and they say no way, they're not willing to sell you the house, and it really was worth $150 a square foot? You're either going to get in a pickle and lose money, or you're going to lose deals because of that type of risk. So take that in mind, okay? I want to go through a second example here real quickly that I think will help you in determining values. There's a little bit of science to this. There's an element of art. I would encourage you to always err on the side of being conservative. It'll be best for you in the long run, I promise you. So here's a second example. Your subject property, 1,800 square feet. You found 3 comps that you believe are truly comparable houses. $120 a square foot, $133 a square foot, and $127 per square foot. The average there is $127 per square foot. $120 per square foot times your 1,800 square foot property gives you an ARV of $228,600. Now, you want to use comps that are as close to apples as possible. You'll see prices all over the board. The price variance often has to do with the quality of the property. So it's challenging sometimes. If in doubt, I would encourage you to just assume less. It might mean that you'll miss out on deals. The flip side of that is that you stay safe and you can fight another day. You're not going to get every property you go after. I promise you, if you err on the side of being conservative, that you'll sleep better at night and you'll live much longer in this business. So in summary, to get better at estimating market values, the more predictable your profits will be, the better you get at estimating, and the less risky your business will get. Now, while your estimates are only your estimates, those that buy from you will come to trust you if your estimates are more believable and your assumptions are more accurate. I have a little task for you. I'd encourage you to actually, if you get wholesalers or other people in your market that are marketing deals on Facebook or inside of other groups, go look at them. Go look at them. Get access to MLS data, even if you have to go through a realtor to get it. Get access to that data. Go out to a house. By the way, you could even go look at a house that's on the MLS. It doesn't have to be an investor deal, just for the point of this example. Use your own house even, and just go see what are some other recent sales in my neighborhood that look like they were in the same condition as the subject house. Might be your personal house. Okay, and just try to figure out what you think the value of your house is based off of comps. There's lots of houses out there. Use a few of examples, and it will help you get more confident with this process. By the way, in an upcoming lesson I'm going to share with you, in the next lesson, we're going to talk about evaluating repairs. In this lesson that we just went over about estimating values, you can get in your book here, in the estimating repairs section, we have a field analysis sheet where you can evaluate the repairs and estimate the repairs on a property. We're going to talk about that in the next lesson in 10 minutes or less. At the very top of that page is where you can add your 3 comps, your best 3 comps to help you evaluate this all on one page of paper. So make sure you download your guide if you haven't yet, or pull it out and check out that form. It's invaluable. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about evaluating repairs. I'll see you there. Hey everybody, just a reminder, thanks for watching this incredibly powerful masterclass lesson. I hope you got a lot out of it. Just a reminder that you can get access to all 10 of the training videos in this masterclass that we call the Ultimate Get Started in Real Estate Investing Training Program and Guide. You can get this supplemental guide, which is full of valuable copies of our contracts, checklists, the scripts we use when we talk to sellers, and so much more. Quite frankly, we've never given away all this free content before, so it's super powerful. To get it, to get access to all of this, you simply need to go to flipnerd.com/free training, and that's flipnerd.com/free-training to get access to everything. It's completely free, but we can't give you downloads on YouTube. You have to come over to our site to get them. You'll get immediate access, again, to all 10 lessons of this powerful masterclass You'll get this free resource guide, and we'll share some other powerful, awesome content with you as well. So go on over to flipnerd.com/free-training now to register. See you on the other side.